Hi guys, it's Stacy from Clothes Live On. Welcome to my first video post Poshfest. I will probably have a couple Poshfest related videos. This video I'm primarily just showing you the first panel that I did as a speaker, and then we'll do kind of a different video kind of sharing my thoughts. I asked for some questions on Instagram, so I will kind of address all of that stuff in a separate video. But I don't want to make my intro too long because it is going to be about a 30-minute video clip of me speaking. There is going to be a pause in the middle. My friend Emily was filming for me and the camera almost fell off the table at one point, so she said, in rescuing my camera, the video stopped momentarily. It's a really short pause. It's better than the camera being broken. So I hope you guys don't mind that too much. Thank you so much to Emily for filming this for me. If you're not aware, I spoke on being a full-time reseller. My panel was more so on like how you can decide if you're at that point and kind of the logistics. There was a separate panel of full-time resellers that kind of talked about their journey. So they talked about their job and what led them to the decision and all of that. And ours was a lot more about like financial stuff and healthcare and things like that. I really enjoyed it. Every session was a little bit different, so I almost wish I had all three of them recorded. I only have the first one. It would be a lot of footage that way, but I do feel like there was something valuable that I said in each one that wasn't in the others. But I don't know. I hope you guys like hearing me as a speaker, and let's play that.
Feeling good? We just had the hackathon. Are you guys happy about all those cool features? I'm excited. This team's been working so hard, so we're so excited to finally share that with you. So, welcome to Taking the Leap, Going Full-Time and Thriving. My name is Ashley. I am a Senior Director of the Disputes team on the Community Department at Poshmark. I've been there for about 7 years. I've been to all the Poshfest, but this is the craziest one yet, so thank you guys so much for coming to this session. I'm joined by David, Stacy, and Corbin, who are all full-time Poshers, and they're going to be sharing their experiences with us. So let's get started. So leveling up means different things for everybody, depending on your business, depending on your goals. Our Power Poshers, David, Stacy, and Corbin, are all figuring out the ins and outs of having a full-time business on Poshmark. So we'll be diving into the details of their journeys from preparing financially to being self-employed, running your own business, and just overall their journey on Poshmark. So each of your stories have a very pivotal moment in them, and it's the same across the board. It's the day that you downloaded Poshmark onto your phone. So David, you described that you married into Poshmark. Can you tell me how that happened?
Yeah, I can. Good question. No, so I'm part of a team. I work with my wife, the closet at Lene Jiao.
Lene, you are here.
She's right back there. She's waving here. Yeah, so I actually didn't, when I met her, I didn't know what Poshmark was. I was like, what's that? And I had my own business, and she was doing that. And then as she got busier and busier doing the Poshmark thing, we kind of decided together that we would take it on full-time together. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And it's been about 2.5 years now, and loving every minute of it. It's really kind of awesome. And there's not a lot of guys, so I'm excited to see the few that are here, but yeah. Can I have a little different perspective? So.
And Stacy, you actually attended a Poshfest in Chicago just 6 months after downloading the app. So what prompted you to come to one of these huge conferences for an app that you just got started on?
Yeah, so I think a lot of my inspiration for that was just that it was in Chicago, which is where I live. But I had to buy my ticket after reselling for about 2 months, actually. Like, I just made that commitment. I was like, it's in Chicago, let's see what this is about. I didn't know any other resellers in the area since I was brand new at it. But I made some friends in line to register. Still talk to them, like rooming with them this year, rooming with them every year. So it was an amazing experience, no regrets. But by the time I went there, I already felt like I learned a lot, but it was just a great experience to meet other people since I hadn't really had that aspect of it yet.
Well, and now here we are, and you are on stage at Poshfest. So turning your hobby into a full-time serious business, you know, you have to leave your previous job if you weren't doing this before. So Corbin, what made you decide to leave behind your corporate job?
Oh, so many factors. To be completely honest, I was miserable there for 5 years, and I just thought, you know, I kind of feel like I'm doing this just to tell people that I'm doing it. Like, I don't really know if I'm passionate about this. And I was always kind of like sneaking away to do Poshmark related things, like anytime I could. But I
think there's a lot of guilty people. We won't tell.
But the major driver for me was my son. So he's 17 months old, and I just was like, I never thought I'd be like somebody who wanted to be around their kid at all times, but when they're here and you see them, you're like, I'm obsessed with you. I just want to be with you all the time. So that's me, and I embrace that, it's fine. But I just didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to miss out on those special moments, and I wanted to still be able to make money, and so my goal right now is to have my income be the same as my corporate job, so that's what I'm doing.
And David, what prompted you, I mean, this is a partner decision, for you to go full-time with Lene?
Just real quick, that desire goes away after a little bit. But then it kind of comes back. My wife and I have 9 kids together. So, not together, but we joined. Yeah, I have 5, she has 4. So.
Only the honest truth.
And they help us with Poshmark, which is good. So we got them sharing all the time. Some of them have their own closets. But anyway, sorry, what was the question?
So what prompted you to go full-time with Lene?
Oh, well, my wife did. But no, actually. So, like I said, I had my own business, and she had her thing going, and really, it started to get to where I was kind of helping her, but wasn't 100% in that. And there were times where it was just, it gets overwhelming. You probably all know that. It gets overwhelming, and so what we ended up deciding was that, hey, this is just, it's too much for one person. And she's either going to have to maybe try and hire somebody or get an intern or something, or I would just take that step and push away a little bit of what I was doing with the other business and join her. And we love working together. You know, it's one of those things. You do have to love that, by the way. You have to love being with your wife or husband for an extended period of time. But we do our own things, and it works out.
So I've heard from many Poshers that one of the parts of being full-time that they struggle with is financial. How do you make these financial decisions? How do I know that I'm ready? Stacey, how did you prepare financially? Because you were doing it part-time and then recently went full-time.
Yeah, so I mean, if you heard the business basics yesterday, you were told to make a separate bank account. So that's how I've been doing it for a while. I had a separate bank account. All of my Posh money goes in and out, like any business purchase, sourcing, when I eat, if I'm taking a whole day sourcing, that was always in and out of there. So I had a big buildup because that money wasn't being touched. Like we really, we had other streams of income, so we weren't relying on my reselling money. But we did use it. We paid off my student loans with it and things like that. But it built up. And so once we got to a certain point, and I keep track of my numbers in a spreadsheet, which everyone else should also be doing. So just looking at those, like the hours we think I was putting into it and what I was making with that. Plus we had a savings, and it was like, okay, I think it's time to do this. Like the numbers are supporting it, but if I could put in more hours, and we have this money built up to back us up in case it's not going as planned.
And Corbin, you had a strategy before going full-time. So can you walk us through the steps that you took before taking that leap?
Well, I'll say I could have been more prepared, and I feel like you can always be more prepared though. And I was just ready. I was to that point where I was like, my son's getting bigger, like I'm losing time. I'm working all the time. Even when I wasn't working, I was working. And so, but one thing that I did do that really made us feel more comfortable financially was, I don't know how many people are familiar, but I've been doing Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace program.
Woo!
Changed my life as well as Poshmark, obviously. So we just paid off all the rest of our student debt debt was just a lump sum. Back in March, right before I went full time, I was like, okay, I feel good, I'm ready.
So paying off all that debt and having the savings are two key factors that you have to consider before going full time. So when it comes down to the numbers, inventory decisions are just as important to the success of your business. So setting your profit margins, investing back into your business. David, you and Lene have been in the reselling business for a couple of years now. How do you keep your business on track?
That's a good question. It's one of those things where you can't just start it and then let it go. It's not an autopilot thing. So you have to, it's something you're learning every day, no matter how well you're doing. Even at the beginning, if you think you're prepared, like she was saying, like Corbin was saying, you have to make adjustments, you have to make changes. We continually look at how everything is functioning, and how we can get better at organizing things, which is more my part of it. But I look to her for the to give me feedback and all that stuff. Especially like if I have to go away for a day and she's got to do the organizing or the pulling or something like that for the sales. So we do a lot of that together usually in the packaging. But it's one of those things where it's not something that you just, oh hey, I've got it now. It's something you have to continually learn and progress and deal with. So
when we were talking earlier, you were telling me that you stick to around 15 to 20% of your sales to replenish inventory. How did you determine that margin?
Well, part of that is just the financial aspect, and okay, what do we need to do as far as making payments, making living expenses, and then saying, okay, but we still need to build our inventory, we still need to replace things, so we try to keep it at a certain amount that we know we're still going to be able to make our payments, and all that, but be able to build that inventory, or keep it level at least.
And Corbin, you kind of have a rule of thumb when you are sourcing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I learned this from somebody else within the community like a few years ago, and I was like, I really like that. And it's something that I tried out and really stuck with me. I don't think she's here at the conference, but Peach Thrift, shout out. But she was talking about how she likes to make triple her investment, and I was like, I'm gonna give that a try and see if that works for me and my personal situation financially. We can pay all of our bills, and like David was saying, replenish inventory and stay on track. And so yeah, that's my rule of thumb, and it works really well. And I know that no matter what I spend, as long as I make triple, I'm meeting my goals. And obviously, if I buy something for $1, I would like to make more than $3. But like if I buy something for $30, then I'd like to make $60. So, and that's after Poshmark's at 20%. So yeah.
And Stacy, you kind of have a different approach to sourcing.
Yeah, I'm kind of more like, and I don't have a hard and fast rule for like anything. I would say my more hard and fast rule as a full-timer has become like, I can't have a death pile. I can't afford to have a death pile. When I was part-time, I loved sourcing, and I could do it almost every day, and I did do it almost every day. But it's become less of a luxury now. If I just went to a thrift store and I spent $200, and I go and source again the next day, then that $200 is sitting there, and I can't make money off of that. So like this trip, for example, I've been shopping here, and I'm gonna have to go home and list that. I'm not gonna get to go home and have fun and go sourcing, and that's just become a thing about being more strict. But I base things kind of just, do I think I'm gonna make money? Do I think this is good for my closet? I don't really have like, I want at least double, I would say. The triple's nice. I don't really have a hard and fast rule though. It's just a lot of like, do I think this is gonna make me a reasonable amount of money? Does it fit in my closet?
And where are you sourcing from? So David, where do you and Lene focus your efforts on?
She does most of the sourcing because she's just really good at it. And but I typically if we're out, then I'll help her. But it's mainly we find a lot of thrift stores. She does purchase some stuff on Poshmark. I think we all do. Most of the time we end up wearing it. But
Same.
yeah, but I mean, you can always resell it when you're done with it or whatever. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. Anywhere where you can find really good deals, we like to keep things that we get down really low, like $1 or $2, or if we pay more than $5 or $6, it's because we are more into volume. We just want to get them out there. You can, you can either buy a Mercedes-Benz or a Hyundai. A lot more people can afford the Hyundai. Thank you. So, not that the Mercedes-Benz are nice, but there's a lot less people in the market for the Mercedes-Benzes. So, it's just one of those volume type things.
And Stacey, what about you? Where are you looking to source?
I source, I would say, pretty much anywhere except the Benz, very rarely. But I do mostly thrift stores. I'll do buy-sell trade stores. I love buy-sell trade stores. And I live in Illinois, so I have a last chance by me, so like a little bit of like retail arbitrage going on there. But I'm pretty much open to anything.
How many people went to Last Chance here? We got some good stuff. And Corbin, how about you? Where do you go to source your inventory?
I went to Last Chance last night. I'm sure everyone else did too. No, like Stacey was saying, I love buy-sell trade stores, consignment shops. I have been going to more Goodwills, which I really love the hunt, and you have to really appreciate the hunt of it and enjoy it. I feel like you either love it or hate it, I think. But I've been going to more Goodwills and been finding like some pretty good designer items there, and it's crazy what people will just throw away or donate. But yeah, anywhere, honestly. Thrift stores, I do a lot of retail arbitrage, outlets, consignment, buy-sell trade, all the above.
Yard sales.
Yes.
Yeah, like estate sales, you can find some really good stuff. So looking at the long term, self-employment comes with its own unique set of challenges. Of course, being your own boss always sounds great. You can kind of do whatever you want, you're on your own time. But it really includes, figuring out what is the right schedule for you, how do you balance it with your personal life. So Corbin, how have you navigated being your own boss?
I have been a lot more self-disciplined than I have been in the past. Because before I made the transition this past March, is when I went full-time, I was just like spending and sourcing as much as I wanted to, and developed this massive debt pile, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with that term. And
Opportunity pile.
I didn't have to and I didn't have to be as disciplined, but now that my income, my livelihood and my family depends on my income, it's really been humble.
So going back to the death pile, which everybody is guilty of. I don't think I've met one posher who does not. Maybe they're in denial. I don't know. I have one. It's in the corner of my room. I pretend it's not there. So you actually had a pretty creative strategy or a creative approach to your death pile involving Instagram.
Oh yeah, so in January, right before I was planning to go full-time, and last year when I did my taxes, I made a really bad decision of holding on to a lot of inventory at the end of the year, and didn't get rid of it like you probably should. And so I had probably 1,000 pieces that I just didn't have listed, which is, it's not okay, it's just not.
That's a death mountain.
And you can see it on Instagram, it's there, but yeah. So I hosted this kind of challenge because I noticed that a lot of people within our community were talking about their death piles, and I was like, you guys, come on, like, look at mine. It's not that bad, like, we can do it. And so I just wanted to kind of host something that motivated people to list it all so that we can make money. So I used the hashtag death to the death pile, and it was well received, and it was so cool because everybody was just so motivated, and it really motivated me and kind of held me accountable to like get those things listed or do something with it. So.
And David, how have you folded poshing full-time into your personal life? How do you balance that?
It's a daily balance, and what you have to realize is that it is a business, and you can either go for an hour drive and then 8 hours of work, or 10 hours of work and then an hour drive back. You can either do that, or you can focus that time, on your business, and that's it. But it's a daily thing. The cool thing is that you're able to have some flexibility, and you gotta have some flexibility. So being able to be flexible. I mean, occasionally we say, hey, let's go have a business lunch, and we go and we have a business lunch, and we talk about it, things that need to be done, and that sort of thing. So but you can do that when you want, and you don't have to worry about somebody saying, hey, you've been gone for an hour, are you coming back? So that's but it's always a struggle. Well, not necessarily a struggle, but it's a challenge to make sure that you treat it like a business and not just, oh, this is cool, because you can go real crazy.
So you have to tell me, I know that you live near a lake, and you had a creative approach to your cover shots.
Oh, so we have a boat, and we decided, well, to do the bathing suits, we would just take a mannequin out on the boat, and we do get reception there. So we just take the mannequin and put the bathing suit on it, with the nice backdrop of the lake and the mountains there. I mean, they actually turned out pretty well. You can go on at Lineage Out, go check them out. So they're not all that way, but when we feel like getting out there and just enjoying ourselves, we'll even post or share while we're just sitting on the boat. So.
Wait, so you just did from the boat?
Yeah, we actually.
A business meeting on a boat.
Yeah. Well, hey, we can write it off. So.
And I think that's an important mind shift that a lot of people have to think about, is that it's not a hobby anymore, it's a business. It's so if you are at a lunch and you are discussing business, that is a write-off essentially for your business. So now I have a question for all of you. What advice would you give yourself at the beginning of this journey of going full-time? Stacey, let's start with you.
I don't know, have grace, I guess. It's been a rocky journey, I think. There's a lot of self-doubt. I still struggle with that all the time, is the self-doubt. Did I make the right decision? Are people doing better than me? Instagram can kind of be like my worst enemy sometimes. And honestly, Instagram, I like it. It gives me a sense of community, but it doesn't help my business. It usually hurts it. So having to understand that for me, that I need to focus on my business, because I need to find a balance between my business and spending time with my husband or getting out with friends, because that's another struggle too, is the self-care aspect. But you can't lose yourself to your business. It's not good.
Corbin, how about you? What piece of advice would you give yourself?
Same. No. Yeah, I mean, obviously I want to echo all of that, because grace is so important, especially when you have children. You just have to be okay with not being perfect, and you have to be okay with the fact that, and this is me telling myself advice, by the way, you have to be okay with the fact that you are going to constantly be learning and growing and improving. And when you do look at Instagram and look at all these people who are either speaking or, seem to have it all figured out, everybody had to start from somewhere, and everybody is in a different place, within their journey of their business. So I would just tell myself, be more organized, but also, just have grace and be okay with the fact that in a year I'm going to be, way further along in my business than I am today. So.
And David, how about you entering into this partnership with your partner?
Well, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And I would just say to myself, don't get caught in the thick of thin things. I think Stephen Covey said that. But you don't want to get so involved in the small things that you forget about the whole big picture. So just little things. We strive to be perfect. I mean, we're perfectionists. So yes, we have a 4.9 with 5,000 reviews. But when we get that low review for whatever it is, sometimes it's just because it doesn't fit. We have to remember and just say, okay, I'm not going to get caught up in that, because I can continue and keep doing what I'm doing, and it's working, and just do it. So if you're looking at going full time, don't get caught up in the thick of thin things, because it just doesn't work.
I think yesterday in the last panel of the day, Camille's panel, one of the panelists, I don't remember his name, but a gentleman said, mind your business. And I was like, that's very true, because we do get caught up in what other people are doing, and we forget about the bigger picture for ourselves. So as we heard today, taking the steps to go full-time is not just one decision. It's a series of strategic decisions that you make along the way to not only improve your business, but making sure that it is all in order and that it will continue to have success. So I think the real key is just finding what works for you. All three of you are at different points in your journey, and all three of you have found different ways to make it work. So, you know, it really comes down to learning from each other and, again, focusing on your business and keeping that in mind. So with that, I would like to open up Q&A. We have about 5 or so minutes left, so if you have any questions. So let's start here in the white. You had your business.
You said that Instagram hurts your business. How do you mean that? What do you mean by that?
So just for those like business, how going a little bit deeper, I think, is what
Yeah,
you're.
no, that's a fair question. So, I mean, for me, one thing is like it takes time. If I'm scrolling Instagram and not listening.
Yourself looking.
Well, yeah, but also like for me, it's a mindset thing. When I go on to Instagram, if I see someone with a stack of 15 packages and I have 2, I feel like garbage about myself. But I don't know if those packages, they sold them for $3 an item and mine sold for 100 each. But it doesn't matter. Your mindset is instantly just like, they're doing better than me. And that's just like a toxic place for me to be in as a full-time reseller, to be working for myself and thinking that I'm doing bad. So I have to like find a balance with Instagram. I don't want to not use it. I think it's a great sense of community, but I can't let it get me in a bad headspace.
Right here in the front.
This is for any of the panels. Do you create a work schedule? You know, like on our regular jobs, we have a 9 to 5 or 3 to 11. Do you find that creating a work day schedule fares better for you?
So workday schedule, what does that look like? Do you have one?
Well, I'm a mom, so not every day looks the same. But I have learned after going full-time that a schedule is really beneficial, especially for me because I tend to get easily distracted. So it kind of keeps me on track, and what's actually been working, shout out to Voyage is a Bird for talking about this within the last few weeks, and it's something that I recently tried, is batch processes within my business. So what's really helped me is like after my son goes to bed, like I'll share during the day and I'll list during nap time and things, but after my son goes to bed, it's time to photograph things. It's time to like really knock out as much as I can. So on certain days I say it's time to photograph. It's time to do whatever my task is for that day. So I'll do photographs, or I'll do editing, or I'll, you know, measure, or whatever it may be. Inventory, finances, yeah.
Can I just add? Yeah. I just say plan, but be flexible. Especially if you have kids or if you have dogs. Or birds. Or fish, which we have all of. So, yeah.
Even plants. Plants are tough. I think we have time for one more question. Here in the front.
Can you speak more on the getting rid of your inventory at the end of the year and why that is something we should be doing?
So a question for Corbin about her death pile, or inventory we'll call it, getting rid of it at the end of the year, what her strategy is.
Yeah, so the reason why I mentioned that was important, and it's something that I learned from my CPA, and I'm not the person you want to talk to about taxes or finances, or numbers, but I learned that you have to pay a tax on inventory that you still have at the end of the year, and so I was like, oh, okay, next year I'll do better. So, I mean, I'm sure people have different strategies for that, but for me, I think maybe this year I'll use a strategy of like running a sale or something and kind of cleaning out my closet, and then maybe start again at the beginning of the year. I think that's what's going to work for me.
So that's the listed items?
No, everything.
All right, so thank you guys so much for sharing your journeys with us.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Did you like hearing me speak? I was very nervous. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. I was super nervous when I started, but I got comfortable pretty quickly. I even caught myself. I was looking at the moderator, Ashley, too much, and so I tried to like shift it to speaking of the audience. But I definitely feel like by session 2 and 3, I was super comfortable. But yeah, that was me speaking at Poshfest 2019. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, can you please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you didn't attend Poshfest, I hope you enjoyed seeing this panel. I know some of the panels were live on YouTube, but the breakout sessions were not. So if you were not at Poshfest, I hope you enjoyed seeing my breakout session, or even if you were and you just missed the first one, I hope you enjoyed it. If you aren't subscribed, please click the red button down below and subscribe. I'm getting really close to 1,000 subscribers. Still a little ways from being able to monetize, but we get in there. We are getting closer. I would really appreciate it if you did that, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!